$101 for a Krabby Patty? With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese!
The Switch 1 has been a huge success. It did what Game & Wario failed to do and put Nintendo back on the map and back on top. With around 150 million units sold and counting, my hype going into Switch 2 was high, and there was no way Nintendo could screw it up. And then they did it. They screwed it up. So what happened on April 2nd, 2025 that we should document for future generations? Well, let's start at the beginning. Our story begins with the exciting title reveal of Mario Kart World, and it looks incredible. You got your rail grinding, you got your CDL, you got your wide open world. You're shown that hamburgers change outfits, which at first makes no sense, but I actually had the same thing happen to me in real life, where I ate too many hamburgers and now I needed new clothes. But most important were these character reveals. You got your penguin from Mario 64, your sidesteppers from the arcade Mario Bros, and I didn't see it, but people were saying that you could play as a Cataquack. That is exciting. One thing I noticed right away though was that there was no Diddy Kong, no Funky Kong, no Kong Fu. And Donkey Kong himself looks awful now. But before I could think too deeply about it, the standout moment from this direct occurred. You could play as Cow on a dirt bike, and right away this became a day one purchase for me and a lot of others. And once again, I felt nothing could ruin my hype for this. I could feel the $60 burning a hole in my wallet. Next up was the system level voice chat. I saw a lot of people hype for this, but I'm just like...
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Why would I ever use this instead of Discord? Especially when it looks like Nintendo copy-pasted Discord, but combined it with all the power of We Speak.
Oh, Gusteau was right. Oh, yeah. Oh, amazing. Each flavor was totally unique.
Standing in line.
But combine one flavor with another, and something new was created.
I'm still ahead of all of you guys. Woo!
The screen sharing idea is cool, but it runs like a Pokemon game. But maybe on Switch 3 you can pay $90 for a 60 FPS patch. In conjunction with this, you can also use a camera, which is kinda neat. Not for $50 though. You plug it into your Switch and then you too can look like a boomer using Zoom.
We must make sure that our nation's sole proprietors and the smallest of small businesses receive timely...
Will the gentleman suspend? I'm sorry, Mr. Emmer?
Yes.
Are you okay?
You're upside down, Tom.
I don't know how to fix that.
And while we're on the topic of sharing faces and screens, you can also now share entire games like you could do with Download Play on the DS's. And I'm like, wow, okay, Nintendo's being generous today. I think they understand and respect how much their fans have supported them and are carrying a good attitude into this next generation. That's really nice. The 120 frames per second Switch screen is pretty cool. That's like 119 more frames than the screen sharing.
EA Sports.
My current location is actually inside the game.
And then there's a tech demo where you apparently read signs.
This sign reads, "Where are the magnets?"
And this costs money. Nintendo, do you really think that the literature types are tuning in for your showcases where you reveal Cow on motorcycle? Who's gonna buy this? You got some re-releases with expanded content in the form of Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. They're probably going to try to resell these old games for $60 again, but I guess if they have some extra content for Switch 2, this $60 could be reasonable. The Zelda's got some too, and their expanded editions came with Siri navigation.
Proceed north.
Oh, okay. The next two games show the incredible and dynamic range of the Switch 2's graphical capabilities. It can render Metroid Prime 4, which looks beautiful, and then it can also do Pokemon Legends ZA, which looks the opposite of beautiful. To show off the mouse controls, we get Wheelchair Rocket League, which looks fun, but I feel like this is where the death of Mii's is really felt. What are these boring aesthetics? This would be so much better with Dr. Sodium and Snoopy as characters. I mean, the game looks fine, but wouldn't it have been better to show off the mouse controls with a more familiar genre that uses them? I feel like the strategy and simulation games will benefit the most from these types of controls, so why not focus on games like 2 Point Museum and Civ 7, which were already in the Direct and other places? Heck, if you really want to show off a good mouse game, you could add Choo Choo Rocket on the Game Boy Advance to the NSO catalog. You got Elden Ring, 5 Seconds of Silksong for some reason, new Kirby Air Ride from Sakurai, and a brand new From Software game exclusive to Switch 2, which is big. I remember I got excited that they were doing DS NSO based on these visuals, but nope, it's just some game called Bravely Default Remastered. Why is this here for your big new console reveal? But GameCube NSO was revealed, which is exciting, but there's no way this price doesn't soon skyrocket. And the Direct ended with Donkey Kong, and I'm just like, why does he look like that? That redesign is absolutely horrible. It's like...
You know, for the longest time I dreamed about... Finally got everything I wanted. And I'm wearing tights.
And it's not really the pants I have issue with, it's the eyes. Why is he looking at me like that? I don't like this. I see people saying, well, it's his original design, so you can't dislike it, and I'm just like, well, should we go back to Mario's original design, where he looks like he belongs on the cover of a frozen pizza? Rare Donkey Kong is peak Donkey Kong, that's just how it is. But still, I can look past it, and I was even more excited for Switch 2 after all that. A lot was here after all. But before I spiked the football, I realized something wasn't here. Something was missing, and its absence disturbed me greatly. So I logged onto Twitter, and in the coming hours, those fears were immediately realized, and all my hype crashed immediately. The Switch 2 cost $450, and honestly I'm like, I would have preferred $400, but that's fine, I'll take the one-time hit. But what I was not prepared for is what came next. 80 United States dollars for Mario Kart World. $80. There is no reality where I'm paying that. This is simply unacceptable. I've seen people try to justify it by saying, well, it's only going to be the really big games that last you hundreds of hours. The Marios, the Zeldas, the Smashes, etc. And I still adamantly disagree with $80, but in theory you can make an argument for $70. But I still think $60 is the absolute max that I'm willing to pay for 95% of games. And even that argument would crumble hours later when Kirby and Mario Party, 2 old Switch 1 games with some extra content, also joined the $80 ranks. And those were the final straws for me. I am out on Switch 2 until further notice. I'm a massive fan of Nintendo's games, but I'm an even bigger fan of providing food for my wife and kids. Nintendo's pricing has been ridiculous since the Switch 1 launched, with Funky Kong costing an extra $10 over the original Wii U game, $60 for a GameCube game, then $40 for a GameCube game with more work done, then $60 for a decade-old Wii game, and another $60 for another decade-old Wii game. The 2 Donkey Kong Returns games should have been bundled together and should have had a $40 price tag maximum. There's so many outrageously priced Switch games that I don't have time to go into all of them. But this literally takes it to a whole new level. $80 video games in the year 2025 is absolutely insane. I see some people saying, well, the N64 used to cost a lot, and wow, what a great insight, guess how well that worked out for them. Mario Kart 8 sold like 70 million copies, that's more than double the amount of N64 consoles sold. Selling more copies lowers the amount of profit that you need to make on each individual cartridge. If you're still excited for Switch 2, I'm happy for you. The first thing you're taught in school is to keep your eyes on your own paper, so I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. I'll probably just wait to get a Switch 2 until a few years after launch when you can get some deals, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not paying this. But until then, I guess it's time to go back to my massive retro backlog, and until next time, thanks for watching Hydrated Gaming, and stay hydrated. At least we still got a new Tomodachi life this week. There's always a bright side.